And
Could we take a picture of
Juliana take a picture of the files.
yes.
Okay.
where should we stand? We don't want to get you in trouble.
No.
We wanna-
I don't let him through. I was born
Queen Nora.
and then from the staff who said that it's probably
May I take your picture?
Oh,
Yes, there we go. How beautiful.
You can see why the judges enjoy you.
oh my God! Hello. Wait a minute. I want to show something. I was in the first page of the Nuremberg Sonntag Blitz,
Oh, that's true. Look at
and that's me. And yeah.
yeah, publicity. Yes, good.
Well, this is from the press conference
Yeah.
that day.
Yes.
Oh, how fabulous.
Oh God, I couldn't. Well, I was told the name. John told me you are in the first page of the newspaper, and I said, what?
Yes.
No. And then I got to the reception, and I said to the receptionist, I want to see this, of course, and this, and this, and this, and this, this. So it's not what I want to show to you. Well, a lot of people mix the Nuremberg trials with the Nuremberg trial, the first one, the big one. So the Nuremberg trials are those led by the Americans under law number 10 after the big Nuremberg trial. And so this includes, for instance, the doctors process. So it's very different from the big Nuremberg procedure that we were celebrating last weekend. So then you have, so I showed these to in my presentation. So I showed to everybody that there is the International Military Tribunal, then you have the Decedification Tribunal that was more or less parallel. And then you have the 4 occupying countries had the authorization under Control Law 10 to start procedures in the occupied zones. So that's why you have the Nuremberg military trials, that are the American trials at Nuremberg, that are not to mix up with the international military tribunal. Then you have the English tribunals, the Russian tribunals, the French tribunals, and you also have German tribunals and other tribunals, because a lot of people say, well, what happened to the soldiers? Well, they were tried later. But yeah, this one is very, because I saw already journalists asking me, what about the doctors' files, if I have them? No, I have the IMT Nuremberg archive, so of the big 24, against the 24, finally only 22 biggest criminals. So these I explain the difference between the two. And then, well, the content of our archives is around 260,000 pages, and the Nuremberg archives, including the American trials, have around 1 million. So, so when I tell some journalists that I have 260,000, so it's not complete, because we know there is more than 1 million. I say, well, what is more than 1 million are the American trials, and not the international military tribunal trials. So you have gramophone discs, 1942 discs.
That's amazing.
Discs that are like this, they are 40 centimeters diameter. They are read from the inside to the outside, around 7 minutes per side. And they are in perfect state. Then we have artifacts, soaps, truncheons, and a piece of human skin. And then we have 50 reels of film, which were projected as exhibits. So it's not the film of the trial itself, but it was the film used as evidence. But I'm telling you, I think you know all this. It's just, so this is the arrival at Nuremberg of the boxes, at the Hague, sorry.
When did that happen?
This happened in 1950 only, amazingly, because it was decided in 1946 by the tribunal itself on a closed session on the 1st of October, 46, that these archives would come to the court. At that time, the Permanent Court of International Justice, because we were still under the League of Nations, the United Nations was just coming. But there were a lot of negotiations between the 4 powers and the court, especially because of some logistic and economic financial issues. Because, well, of course, these archives would imply certain costs and of maintenance and etc. And the court didn't want it to be under its budget, and So finally they agreed that in the possession of the International Military Tribunal archives, it's a language exercise, always say, because are there other originals? So in French, y a-t-il d'autres originaux? Are there other copies? Y a-t-il d'autres copies? Are there other original copies? Excellent question, because in English you can use the term original copy, and in French, because I see some French people say, oh no, there's only one original and several copies, you cannot have several original copies. So I have it. I said, no. It's a terminology problem. There are different sets. They might all be originals. We don't know. And one of the reasons we are digitizing everything is that we'll be able to know exactly what we have and if other institutions have more. Because precisely during 4 years, what happens with some documents or not. But what is important, and I really insist on saying that when I talk about this, is that the tribunal itself decided that it would be under our custody. So whatever there is around the world, the set that was decided as to be the set that would be the archives of that procedure was the set given to the court. In the last decades, as I mentioned in one of the press conferences as well, after the war, attention was concentrated on the Cold War. These archives were not, everything was very fresh. Nobody cared about the archives would exist and last. But, and also in the 1950s, nobody talked about preservation. It was not a problem, preservation or not preservation or... this is paper documents. You know that the paper document 70% is published, 70%.
Can you go back for a second? Brett didn't get a chance to see it.
See that.
Of course.
There, perfect. That's the real deal.
The judgment.
Yeah. The sentence, actually. The judgment is
Sentence,
300
yeah.
pages. Yeah. And so you have here imprisonment for life, death by hanging, blah, blah. And then,
Yeah.
well, you know that there is this enormous collection of 42 volumes that are published. So, and we found out here, with the requests we received from outsiders, that I calculate, this is my calculation, that around approximately 70% of the entire archives have been published, but not everything. And when you see the publisher's forward in the volume, you see, so 70%. They were in a cupboard like this when I arrived. These are the inventors. This is the company I hired to prepare the documents for the moving, for them to be decedified. So this was
What is that process?
I'll show you.
Okay, cool.
Incredible, wonderful. This is me at the D-Day on the truck. Because people here for 30 years said this would never happen. Oh yeah, it happened. Look at me. I was there. So, decedification process.
Cool.
So before the treatment, we measured the acidification of the papers. The pH was between 3.2 and 5.8. As you know, pH 7 is the neutral pH level. So less than 7 is too acid, more than 7 is too alkaline. So after treatment, and I'll show you how the treatment went on, you have a minimum of pH 7 and a little bit more, around 8.5, just in case, time makes something. Although from now on, these papers are going to be under 18 degrees Celsius and 40% of humidity. That is the general advice for keeping paper. But we have to decidify it before putting them in the right temperature. So, what is the decedification process? Well, it's a very mysterious mixture that is made of magnesium oxide with a non-toxic fluorinated liquid. When I saw the liquid, I saw the papers in the liquid.
I would have
And I said,
yeah.
what are you doing? You're washing my papers? I almost had a prize. It was not water. It's liquid, but it's not water. So it's this non-toxic fluorinated liquid. So this together creates an alkaline buffer into the structure of the paper. Then, once this is out of the treatment, it mixes with normal moisture of the air, so it will be 40% in the ideal condition, and then it even becomes another element, so magnesium hydroxide, and will continuously neutralize acids in the future. And look at this, these are the machines where the papers were treated. And these are the papers inside the washing thing. And
Wow.
almost
So
had a crisis.
is it just a stack of them, or how do they put them in?
Sheet by
Yeah, they
sheet.
put in batches. They call it, in
Batches.
batches, yeah, yeah.
Did the
And-
paper then have a higher rag content or cotton content than paper does now?
What's
When they
oh,
make
it
the-
was very bad quality. It was very bad quality.
Uh-huh.
Well, nowadays, by the way, thanks to this, because I gave a conference about this at ICJ, they changed the purchase of papers there, because they were buying paper very cheap. A wonderful technology in Switzerland, state of the art. I negotiated the price. I brought the price in two of a procedure that will extract the sounds of the disc without touching the discs.
Whoa.
Because the other company was proposing to use the diamonds to with a very
Needle.
old machine and put one by one, etc. But this had the risk of disturbing the structure of the disc. And I found out a technology that's just wonderful. It is called the visual audio technique. It's an optical retrieval and storage of the sounds. So our original records is put into a machine where a high resolution photography is taken.
What megapixels?
Huh?
How many megapixels?
Good question. I wouldn't know by heart, but yeah, I can send you later. But I'll show you the machine because it's really incredible. So there is a scan film. Then a scanner reads the picture.
Amazing.
Very cool.
And here is a Jackson.
That's amazing.
And unfortunately, I cannot play it here because my machine of the court doesn't.
Of course.
It
That's
doesn't
okay.
work for these kind of things.
So then, what audio file is considered archive worthy?
Hmm?
What medium is then considered archive worthy for storing sound?
This is a very excellent question because there are two issues inside your question. Is you have the media for archival purposes, and then you have the media for preservation. No, sorry. You have the media for preservation purposes.
Okay.
So it's for security.
So I'm a film guy.
You're from guy, I see.
Very interesting. Thank you. Okay.
And then you have, well, there are 50 reels of films. The original films were 37 of the reels the films were on nitrate base, 13 were on acetate base. In 1989, and this was the first preservation procedure that was ever done about these archives, a copy of nitrate base to acetate base was made because nitrates today is known to be self-inflaming. So they're going to be kept in 18 Well, the film's a little bit lower, the temperature is 12 degrees. And then a database, and the metadata that we're going to build, blah blah, the legacy, archival lessons, legal lessons, blah blah, and blah blah. Well, now I'll show you very quickly just my, thank you,